they're one of the stakeholders in the business. We have to care about our people. And by the way, when you do, and they feel that you do, they're going to come and contribute at a higher level than you've ever anticipated, which is going to lift the performance of the business. So.
Hi, it's John Bernatovich, your host of the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to season 3. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope of finding what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. On today's show, we've got a really special guest. It's Jason Lippert. Jason is going to be on the show for one primary reason. His organization does some amazingly awesome things around purpose and their commitment to their community. So Jason, welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. Excited to have a conversation.
How would you describe the purpose of human resources?
Yeah, I think that the purpose of human resources has largely evolved, especially over the last 10 years. And I just think, some companies are evolving their HR disciplines and people in that part of the business, and some are kind of stuck where, HR is more administrative and doing things that they've traditionally done. I like to think of HR as, there are front lines part of our front lines in manufacturing for how our people get cared about. They can be self-aware of every, human being in every one of our facilities. We've got great HR teams across the business, and I think the difference between kind of old school and new school is, HR, our HR, and the way we've evolved it is, focusing on, hey, making sure that we're living out our values in the facilities, that we're really caring about people, we're in tune with our workforce and our team members, because we want them to come back every day and participate at a higher level. And if you're treating everything black and white, and everything's a transaction or HR is transactional, I think that we tend to miss the point of how effective HR can be. And
I was just really curious about why being socially responsible from a corporate organizational perspective is so important to you and your company.
Yeah, I think the reason it's most important is because it impacts so much inside and outside our four walls. So when we focus on culture and leadership development and actually developing people and listening to people in our business, they tend to want to come back every day, passionate and excited about work and the people that they work around, versus looking at this as just a job and clocking in and out and never being asked their opinion or anything like that. We've evolved really. We just talked about HR. We've really evolved, the HR conversation. We've kind of split out a culture department and leadership development department from HR. HR is really, really busy. They've got more to do than they've ever had to do. I think in the history of HR, it's just a complex part of the function of the business, and they've got a lot to deal with. But to put culture and leadership development on top of that, which is where most of that lives with most businesses, I just think it's too much. So we've split it out. And we're really able, I think, to care about our team members at a different level, because we have 30 human beings in our business that focus on leader development, personal development, just helping people grow personally and professionally. We've got a chaplain program. We coach other businesses around culture and leadership development to go outside our four walls. But ultimately, we know if we care for people better than any other organization out there, that and they lead themselves better, and we teach them what leadership is, they tend to perform better themselves. They tend to lead better lives themselves and live up to values that maybe they weren't living up to before, because for 40 hours a week, we're making sure that happens in our business. And then the most important thing is they leave home and they take those values with them, and they tend to go home in a little bit better light because they're treated well at work and they're led well at work. And then they tend to lead their families and the people they interact with outside these four walls a lot better because of those extra resources we have to focus on culture and leader development.
I'm just curious of any sort of bottom line or employee or customer based impact that you've seen this corporate social responsibility initiative that you've had at your organization. What has that meant?
Yeah, so I can frame it up really easy. The better our culture gets, the more people want to work here. The more people want to work here, the higher our retention gets. So we watch our retention go from, I'll talk in terms of turnover. 10 years ago when we started our culture journey, and we really were, I would categorize our culture as winning at all costs, and we would run over people to win. But in 2013, we pivoted. It was a God moment for me, and God kind of speaking into, hey, this is a direction that's probably better for people, the caring about people piece. But what I would say is that our turnover in 2013 was close to 125%, which is pretty normal around our industry. Might seem high, but it's pretty normal for our industry. So we didn't think much of it. But today our attrition is less than 30%. So, you can use whatever statistic you want around the cost to recruit, hire, train, and then only to lose people and do it all over again. The cost is, $3,500 to $5,000 a team member, especially in manufacturing, where you got to bring people in, and they need to be trained on the job for 3 months or sometimes, in some cases, to start producing those products. So when you think about the cost of attrition and taking it from 125% down to below 30%, I would say, look, there's the cost save right there by focusing on good culture, leadership development, building people up, caring for people. And ultimately, when the business experiences retention, people come running to the business kind of with their hearts on fire and passionate about contributing and engaging each other versus, an unhealthy culture where people just don't care and they're probably leaving every day. You get this incredible momentum when people are coming to the business and working together, and safety, quality, efficiency, innovation, all four of those things, which are paramount for the true success of a business, get really, really good when you've got high retention and people running to work every day, wanting to contribute.
If we were having just the CEOs listen to this podcast to say, I begrudgingly have not engaged or invested in HR. I think it's a necessary evil. I don't like it. I don't really care about culture. Fill in the blanks of a CEO that doesn't have that investment. What would you say to that individual as to the value of doing what you've done and the impact on the business and making their job easier as a CEO?
Yeah, I think, I talk to our businesses, our business units every week. And, the comment I hear over and over again is one of the things in the culture, focusing on leader development, and just engaging all of our team members on growth and personal and professional growth journeys. Every team member, all 15,000 people. It's growth and development isn't just for leaders. Every human being in our business can grow and develop as a person. And when they're doing that and they're leading themselves better, they're going to contribute more to the business, which just lifts the performance of the business, and it makes things a little bit easier. That's what I hear over and over again. We're doing $1 billion, we're doing $2 billion more than we did a few years ago. And it just feels not as painful as it did in years past, when we were just cycling through people. So what I would tell is, you can't afford not to engage, unless you just want the rat race and just the hard work, which you'd rather have strategic hard work than just going through the motions all the time. And it's more fulfilling. I would argue with CEOs that might have a different stance, that you can't afford not to care for your people. I mean, think about the counter to that statement is we don't care about people. So I just would say we've got a duty. They're one of the stakeholders in the business. We have to care about our people. And by the way, when you do, and they feel that you do, they're going to come and contribute at a higher level than you've ever anticipated, which is going to lift the performance of the business. So I don't know how you can afford not to care about people. It's just, again, we're caught in these bad habits for 20, 30 years where businesses would just focus on shareholder return. And there's just so much more to it if we really want to elevate the performance of the business. So
how would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
I would just say that they're in tune and they're truly self-aware and caring about people. They can do the black and white part of the job really, really well, and juggle a lot. But man, especially in the manufacturing business, when things get so busy and operational leaders around the business tend to just get busy and overwhelmed, and they've got 100,000 things going on. We need HR caring about people and looking out for people. And a lot of it's not them going out, saying, hey, look, we need to do this, we need to do that. It's just listening. if we would just kind of shift gears and just start listening to our people more, it'd be a lot easier to figure out what they need to be successful and what they need to feel cared about. So hopefully that's the new dimension, the next evolution for, for HR team members across the country living inside organizations, trying to figure out what that next level of evolution looks like.
Jason, thank you so much for being on the HR Like a Boss podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John. It was fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating or review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.